How's it going, guys? Alright, so today I'm going to be telling you about my near-death experience at the Grand Canyon. And this is not any like, oh, I only had one bottle of water left, like type of like stupid like near-death experience story, you know, like this is not any clickbaity stuff. This is a real near-death experience I had. I was all alone in the Grand Canyon. I had no one around me. I was collapsing. I couldn't walk. I was hallucinating. Alright, so a little backstory. Me and my two best friends from high school all got in a car and we went on a 3-week road trip all the way up to Canada. When we travel, we're not like vacationers, like we are adventurers. So we were like going the entire time. So whenever we went from one national park to the next, we would drive via night, so we didn't lose any daylight hours. So we'd be at a national park all day long, and then at like 6 o'clock, we would all hop in a car, leave, drive to the next national park, take turns driving, take turns sleeping, and then by the time we get there, it'd be like 6 in the morning, and we could set up camp and then start a new day. I don't think there's a single day where we hiked less than like 15-20 miles. Like most days we were hiking like 25-30 miles. Alright, so we finally got to Banff, Canada. We'd been there, we were leaving, and we need to get to Austin, Texas. And along the way, we decided we're gonna stop at the Grand Canyon. It is pretty much right at the halfway point. It's 18 hours there, 18 hours to Austin. So as we're getting to the Grand Canyon, I remember my friend's dad called them. They're brothers. And he calls me, he's like, hey, like, I know y'all planning on getting home the 18th, and that night we're supposed to be leaving for our family vacation, and I don't want to miss the flight for our family vacation, so can y'all get home the 17th just like in case y'all get a flat tire? And they're like, alright, like, sounds reasonable, we'll just cut our Grand Canyon trip short. And anyways, we're only going to be there for like 2.5 days, but now that we have to leave a day earlier, we literally have like 24 hours there. We got there at 4 p.m. and we need to leave by 4 p.m. the next day so we can drive through the night. Anyways, I really wanted to hike the Grand Canyon. I was not going to the Grand Canyon not to hike down it. So I was like, yo, like, are we gonna hike tomorrow? Like, come on, like, we gotta go to the bottom and go back up, then we can drive home. And they're like, dude, no, like, I'm tired, like, we've been, like, no, like, we've been driving for 18 hours, like, none of us slept last night, like, no, like, we're tired, we're just gonna hang out. I'm like, dude, y'all cannot go to the Grand Canyon and like not go down, like come on. I couldn't convince any of them to go, so I was like, alright, I'm gonna do it by myself. So I did. So anyways, that was our last night together and we had a good time. I remember we got some beer, we were just hanging out by the fire, it was kinda like a kickback, talking, you know. I wasn't like drunk or anything, I just wanted to say it's probably not the best idea to like drink until 1 a.m. and then wake up at 4 in the morning just to go hike the Grand Canyon. But anyways, before I went, I talked to all these like park rangers and I was like, hey, can I do this? Like I know it says like 2 days, like come on, like can I do this? And they're like, oh no, like it's super hot day tomorrow, like you cannot do it in 1 day. So I was like, well, we're only here for 1 day, can I do it? Like I'm athletic, like I've been hiking for 3 weeks, I'm in perfect shape to do this, like come on, can I do it? And I probably had like 3 different ones tell me no. However, one person said like, yeah, you know what, like you can do it. However, if you do it, you better hike down before the sun rises and then hike up after the sun sets. And I was like, huh, sweet, like I can do it in 1 day, like I got this, like, you know, like I'm from Texas, you know, it's hot there, I can handle the heat, like I'll bring a bunch of water, I'll pack some food, like I'll be good. So I woke up at 4, packed my bag, got on a bus, headed down to the Grand Canyon, and by 5:05 I was starting my trip, and I just kind of like jogged down, like I knew I was in a hurry. I remember when the sun was rising, I hung out for about 30 minutes in the same place and just like took a bunch of pictures. I met this guy who's a Navy SEAL and his fiance, and they were really cool, and then I hang out with them at the bottom of the canyon, so I'll get to there later. But from there, I just kept on jogging, and by 7:15 I got to the bottom of the Grand Canyon. So at this point I'm feeling great, I'm like super pumped, like it's just beautiful, I'm all alone, it's my last day, I'm just like living life, like you know those moments when you're just like high on life, like that was me. And anyways, I'm at the bottom, I swim in the river at the bottom, in the Colorado River, I check out all the camps, go here, go there, and I meet up with this Navy SEAL, and he's a super cool guy, just telling me all the cool things he gets to do as a Navy SEAL, and I talked to his fiance, and we probably talked for 2 hours under this little bridge, but eventually it was about 11:30 and I decided to go. So I said goodbye to them, and then there's one place I wanted to hit, and it was called Phantom Ranch. It's like a little store. I didn't even pack my wallet, so I couldn't buy anything, but I just wanted to check it out. I remember like talking to the guy, and I was like, oh yeah, like I gotta head out, like I'm about to head up, and he's like, head up now? And he's like, no, like please, like don't go up, like it's not safe. I was like, dude, like I can do this. Like, he's like, no, like it's hot, like it's too hot for you to go down now, like you need to wait till the sun sets. And I'm like, told him, I was like, dude, like no, I can't, like time's ticking, like I gotta be up there by 4 o'clock. And he was like, okay, but do not take that trail, take Bright Angel. And I'm like, dude, man, like Bright Angel's like a 10-mile trail, like this one's only 7 miles, like I cannot take a 10-mile trail. And he's like, no, it'll be faster, it's easier, it's not as hard, because the one I did is pretty much a straight climbing uphill switchbacks. It's the steepest trail in the Grand Canyon, it's the least traveled, and it's the hardest to do. But I told him, I was like, dude, like I gotta get there quickly, like I don't want to do 3 extra miles, like I'm already kind of crunched for time. I remember he was super nice, he gave me a free thing of lemonade, which I honestly think might have saved my life. So just real quick so you can realize this, July is the hottest month of the year. I was hiking the Grand Canyon in July. On top of that, I was hiking on July 16th. So literally the dead middle of the hottest month of the year was the day I picked to hike the Grand Canyon. It was well over 100 degrees. The bottom of the Grand Canyon is 20 degrees hotter than the top. So we're talking it's probably over 120 degrees when I was at the bottom. It is a hot place to be. And it's an exceptionally hot place when you're walking up the Grand Canyon in the middle of the day with the sun shining right on you. So I started my journey up the Grand Canyon. Honestly, it started great. I would say about 2 miles in, like feeling good, like I'm energetic. However, it was super hot. Also, just a quick but really important note is that the whole day I didn't really eat much. Starting off the day, I had half a sandwich that I ate. I wasn't really that hungry in the morning for a full one, so I packed the sandwich, I packed a bunch of bars, I packed a bag of pretzels. However, what I only ate was a half a sandwich, and when I was hiking down, 1 bar. However, when it came to drinking, I had a 3-liter Camelback. I drank my entire 3-liter Camelback. I brought 4 half-liter water bottles. I drank, I think, 2 of those going down, and then I also brought a 1-liter thing of Gatorade, and I drank half of that going down, saving the rest for it up. Then when I was down there, I drank another like 2.5 liters out of my Camelback. That's an insane amount of water. Like, I am leaving to go up, it was about 11:45, and I'd already drinking 2 gallons of water. And on top of that, I had not peed 1 time, which seems kind of weird, but that just tells you how hot it was and how much water I was sweating out of me. So anyways, as I said, the hike's going well. I'm about 2 miles up, and as I'm 2 miles up, I see the first person on the trail that's going down. At that point, the only people who had gone down the trail that day were me, the Navy SEAL, and his fiance, all very athletic people. And then as I'm 2 miles up, I see this guy who's like, looks super athletic. And I was like, yo, what's up? Like, how's it going? And he's just got talking to me. He's a really cool guy. He's like a multi-marathoner. He's ran like 100-mile race before. He's like, yeah, I've always wanted to do the Grand Canyon, and I'm just here for a day, so I'm gonna go down and go back up. I was like, cool, like, me too. As I was just resting, talking to him, I was so exhausted standing on my feet. Like, for the first time, I was like, dude, like, my legs should not be this tired. Like, I'm just standing talking to him, and I want to lay down. Like, what is going on? So then he leaves, and I look ahead, and I just see the trail, and it looks like a giant boomerang. And then after that, it's just switchback, 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 and the sun's just right on it. There's not an ounce of shade. I'm like, oh my god, like, this is gonna be so hot. And I started going, and I realized, like, I am way more tired than I usually am. Like, my legs aren't really working well. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I thought it was just like the heat, or I was tired, maybe dehydrated. So anyways, I remember finally like going all through the sun, and I'm just dying. Like, I'm so exhausted. I've never been this exhausted in my life, but there's no shade. But I was like, I cannot stop. I had to be up to the top by 4. I promised my friends I would, and they didn't even want me to do that hike today, so like, I had to be there by 4. They were gonna be extremely mad at me if I wasn't. So I'm pushing myself, and I finally get to the first shade spot, and I take a 10-minute break. And I remember just being like, I was breathing harder than I ever had. I didn't know why, but like, my body wasn't working. Then I keep on, and I remember just going to the point where I would walk a quarter mile, then my body would collapse. And then walk an 1/8 of a mile, then I walk 100 yards. And the distances I could walk before having to take a break were getting shorter and shorter. And then it got to the point where like, literally there were a bunch of switchbacks, and it would take everything in my power to go from this switchback all the way to this point in the switchback, collapse. This point in the switchback, all the way to switchback, collapse. My legs at this point were literally like shaking. I remember for the first time I started hallucinating. I saw like a stick, and I thought it was a snake. My hallucinations kept on getting worse and worse as I was getting to the top. At this point, I had gotten up to the top point, so there's some lookout points like 1, 2, and 3 miles down. I had less than 3 miles to go, so I remember there would be a couple people, maybe every like 30 minutes, that would come see me because they were going down to the looking point. Be like, are you okay? And I'd just be like, yes, like, I'm just taking a break. Like, I always tried pulling myself together, but I had to have looked back, because like, literally everyone was like, are you okay? Like, whenever they came up to me. Just recently, I got to the point where I couldn't do a full switchback. I was literally taking about 10 steps, collapsing. 10 steps, collapsing. Imagine being a physically fit, athletic person, and you literally could not take 10 steps without your body collapsing. So I just am laying in this shade. Like, I'm literally just like laying down. Like, 4 different people like, are you okay? I'm like, yes, I'm fine. Like, yes, I have water, blah, blah, blah. Here's my food. Yes, I have all this stuff on me. I'm fine. And then after about 10 minutes there, I'm like, all right, I'm going to continue my hike up. I had 1 mile left at this point. I start walking, and I take 10 steps, and bam, I'm down. At this point, I had 0.9 miles left. I remember this person being able to be like, hello? And I'm like, oh, hello. And it was one of the girls who had said, asked me if I was doing okay on the way down. I was like, yeah, I'm doing fine. And she went out to one of the lookout points, and she had found the guy who I saw running down. The guy who was a multi-marathoner, ran like 100-mile races, and he was dying, having the exact same effects as me. He couldn't walk, he couldn't run, he was just completely dead. And I didn't know what was going on. I was like, wait, what the heck is happening to you too? And him being an experienced runner, he knew exactly what it was. And he said, he's like, I have a sodium deficit. Like, looking at you, you have a sodium deficit too. I'm like, sodium deficit? Like, what the heck is that? And he's like, imagine how much water we've been drinking. Have you peed? And I'm like, oh yeah, I've drinking about 3 gallons of water at this point, and I haven't peed once. He's like, that means like you've literally sweat out 3 gallons of water. He's like, when you sweat, salt comes out, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, so your body literally has no salt in it right now, and you need salt for your muscles to fire. Like, your muscles cannot fire without salt. And I'm like, oh, okay, so I need more salt? He's like, yes, what do you have for salt? And I was like, well, I literally have an entire bag of pretzels. He's like, pretzels, like, perfect, like, eat those pretzels. Like, can I have some pretzels? Like, it's a full bag. He's eating some pretzels before me. I'm like, I can't eat. He's like, when was the last time you ate? And I was like, I ate a power bar like when I was walking down there. And he's like, so you haven't eaten in like 6 hours? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you have to eat. And I'm like, take a bite of a pretzel. I'm like, oh, like, I'm gonna throw up. I was like, I will throw up. Like, my body cannot take food right now. And it turns out that's a symptom. I'll read the symptoms of having a salt deficit right here. But the symptoms of salt deficit are muscle cramps, nausea, vomiting, dizziness to shock, coma, and death. So anyways, that's pretty much where I was at. I was extremely nauseated. I couldn't eat. My muscles were not only curving, but they wouldn't function. I couldn't even like walk more than 10 steps without collapsing. I was hallucinating, which wasn't something on there, but I don't know, maybe that was from something else. However, at this point, I was also starting to black out a lot. Sometimes when I was just be looking, like, my vision would just narrow, like everything on the outside just kind of got black. back. However, thank God this girl who had helped him was also there and helped me. She was a hero that day. She saved 2 lives. So I remember he had been getting better. Like he was in better shape than me. He was able to walk kind of and go up the rest. For me, I was in my worst shape. This is the worst point I'd ever been. I'd pushed myself way too hard. Like I wanted to get to the top and I felt so bad, but I had 0.9 miles left and it was exactly 3:45, which is when I should be telling my friends to be getting there. So I was pushing so hard to get there on time. And pretty much what it came to is I almost pushed myself to death. I knew I could have stopped. I could have laid down, taken a nap, you know, 3-4 hours in a shady spot. I had plenty of water, I had plenty of food, I would have been fine. However, I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to disappoint them. And they told me that since I'm going alone, if I'm not up by 6 p.m., they're sending out the park rangers looking for me. And I was like, I don't want that. Like, I can get there. Like, I have literally less than a mile left. Alright, now this girl that's helping us out, she was a personal trainer and she didn't even want to go to the bottom herself. She's like, y'all are crazy for going on a day like this in this heat and doing it during the day. Like, yeah, that was just not a smart move on y'all's part. I was like, yeah, I know. So I remember she literally pulled someone on the side of the trail that was drinking a Gatorade. She's like, hey, this kid needs your Gatorade. It felt really bad, but she literally got some random stranger's Gatorade and I took 2 sips of Gatorade. She made me lick the sweat off of my skin so I could get more salt. Because you know when you sweat, like salt comes out? So I'm like licking my own body like a damn cat. I have these pretzel sticks and I can't eat them because I'm gonna throw up. So I'm just licking the salt off these pretzel sticks. So she really helped me out. However, I still was so exhausted. I went from going 10 steps to making like a full switch back. After doing that a couple of times, I was back to half a switch back. And then 10 steps. And then I remember at the very end, I'm not even kidding, I would take 4 steps. Fall. And these people are looking at me like, what the heck is this kid's problem? Like, I could see the top. Like, the top was in sight. I had 1/8 of a mile left, a 1/4 of a mile left. It was super close. And I physically could take 4 steps at a time. And I'm walking this mile 4 steps at a time. I had 0.9 miles and it took me an hour and a half to do that last 0.9 miles. Once we got to the top, I told her where my friends were at and she not only got me on a bus there, she followed me, got me all the way to my friends, and she explained what I was going through, the symptoms, how I need to eat, I need to have salt, how I can't drive. So I get there, it was 5:45 by the time I made it to the top. I slept the entire car ride home. Thank you to Ben and Jacob for driving the entire 18 hours home without my help. And the worst part of all is I remember, so I'm laying in a car and like, you know when you're laying in a car, like you might have your feet up on the windows like this kind of, and as I'm doing that, my entire calf just cramps up, and I had a ball the size of a softball. The worst cramp I can describe. It was just like squeezing up. It was super tight. Like literally, it was like a fist like this in my thigh. Like I thought my muscle was about to rip just because it was cramping up so hard. And I'd be sleeping, and that would happen. I'd go ah, I'd like scream, and it would wake me up. And of course, I would scream. They'd be like, ah, what the heck's wrong with them? Like they'd freak out. And so, anyways, there was my near-death experience. It was honestly pretty much self-induced. Everyone told me not to hike the Grand Canyon. I think you can do it in one day pretty easily if you're a fit, athletic person and you just wait for the sunset to rise. You don't do it in the middle of the day. If you're in the Grand Canyon, take like their warning seriously. So if you really like this video and want to hear more about my travel adventures, please subscribe below, and also leave comments. Like if there are any parts of the stories that I didn't cover, you know, just leave the comments below, and you know, I'll let y'all know my answers. So yeah, smash that like button. Thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video.